back in the news this morning? Well, you see the picture right there. Looks like she's got a kind of a smile on her face, but she's in the process when this photo was taken. By the way, provided by the MCSO, the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, of being transferred out of the state of Arizona. But this morning, we're going to introduce Justin Lum to you right now. The question is that it? Will we never see her again? Or is there a possibility we are going to see a lot more of Lori Vallow in the coming days? Justin, thanks for joining. Boy, there are a lot of new developments.
Yeah, this is a busy past couple of several hours, I guess you could say.
Right.
This morning, we got the new mugshot, what could be the final mugshot for Lori Daybell, booked in the Pocatello Women's Correctional Center.
Okay, so let me just, we're going to roll it. Is that it right there?
Yeah, it's actually, this is a brand new photo taken yesterday. ID number 153745. So Lori Daybell was flown into Idaho from Arizona just yesterday. She left early yesterday morning. You're seeing a video from the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, and she's in the blue uniform, or inmate uniform. That's the jumpsuit I believe she was wearing as she was brought into Arizona from Idaho, and then switched into the orange MCSO outfit, smiling, smiling at the deputies.
What's up with the smiling?
I didn't mention it yesterday in our newscast. I was more looking at just, the actual official transfer at sunrise, but she does smile a lot. So I'm not surprised.
Okay.
She's happy to leave. She doesn't want to be at the Estrella jail. She has not wanted to be there, and she wanted to.
She prefers to be in prison in Idaho.
Yeah, I think the facilities, no offense to MCSO, but from what I've been told, the state prison in Idaho is a better facility than a county jail. And she wanted to, after her sentencing, be extradited within a month. And so they met that timeline. In some video of her arriving in Idaho, you saw an Idaho license plate there in that cell phone video. So there's her mugshot. I think there's been at least 7 that we've seen in this whole saga.
Oh, my. Yeah. Well, I was visiting with our executive producer, Dave, and he was saying, Justin's got a possible headline here, which is it really so long to the Doomsday Mom, or not? Because there are some major new developments in that. I'm sure the audience wants to know all about it.
She has filed her notice of appeal here in Arizona in regards to her murder conspiracy convictions. Again, for those who are just joining and following this case, she was convicted of plotting her 4th husband's murder in July 2019, Charles Vallow, who was shot and killed by her late brother, Alex Cox. There was a life insurance motive there and some very strange, bizarre religious beliefs. And then also convicted for plotting the attempted murder of her former nephew-in-law, Brennan. A bullet missed him by inches. The alleged shooter is also Alex Cox. I can say the shooter is she's been convicted for conspiring with her brother. So these two siblings orchestrated these two heinous crimes within months of each other back in 2019 in that same timeline. And you see Brennan there crying.
Look at him with the
tears.
Box. Think of what he's been through. He was the only survivor.
You're right. And that was the sentencing day. So this was the most emotional he got because he was listening to his family members there talk in court and speak to the judge and address the judge as to why she should be sentenced to the maximum. She got 2 more consecutive life terms for those Arizona convictions. She's filed a notice of appeal. So we don't have the actual argument on the appeal. This is all the administrative work. Her legal defender filed it on August 15th.
Now, is that Kay? Do I see Kay Woodcock?
Yeah, Kay Woodcock there.
Who's the grandmother?
Yeah, the grandmother of J.J. Vallow.
Yeah.
The biological grandmother of J.J. Vallow and the sister of Charles Vallow. So she basically gave J.J. up for adoption to Lori and Charles to take care of him. He was born with autism. He had special needs, and she felt they could give him a better life. And they did for his first, 6 to 7 years of life, along with the family that he joined, which included Tylee Ryan, 16-year-old Tylee Ryan.
Can I just say one thing here? To me, the most emotional moment of the whole this last case here was when Kay was testifying And she turned around and screamed at Lori and said, "I trusted you."
Yeah.
I mean, you felt the pain of that entire family for what Lori had done and for what they have been through and for the loss of life of those two children.
And I know Kay Woodcock very well, and she's usually very composed. Doesn't get, she keeps herself together, but that was a huge explosive moment. She was reading a letter she wrote on behalf of JJ. So she read her own victim impact statement, and she read a victim impact statement on the perspective of JJ Vallow, what he would say. And that's when she said, "I trusted you." This little boy trusted his mother, his adoptive mother, to take care of him. And instead, in the fall of 2019, she got rid of his service dog, a Labradoodle that he needed to help him go to sleep because of his autism. So got rid of the dog. They moved to Rexburg, Idaho. And just within a few weeks, he's killed by her, Chad Daybell, and Alex Cox, buried in the ground along with his sister, Tylee Ryan, whose remains were basically dismembered and charred. It's very horrific, and they were found months later in that backyard of Chad Daybell.
And so we can see our audience is growing around the world. There just has been so much interest, I think, in this case, Justin, and specifically in your coverage of it. So if you guys have questions in the chat box, if you're watching on YouTube, fire away. We've got Justin here for just a few more minutes. For example, here's Steve Dockstader, who says, "I hope we never see or hear from her again." And then he continues that your coverage of these various cases has been excellent. Now, Erica is on in the chat box this morning, so let me ask you her question. What about Melanie Boudreau? Is she off the hook?
Melanie Boudreau, Brandon's ex-wife and mother of their 4 children, has been identified in the trial by Maricopa County Attorney's Office as a co-conspirator. But to make this clear, she has never been charged. Gilbert police investigating this case, the attempted murder, did not recommend a charge at the time they submitted the case. I've checked in with them multiple times. I have not seen any indication that they submitted a charge or recommended a charge for this case. So at this point, she has not been implicated, or I should say indicted, charged, any of that. But if you read into what Prosecutor Trina Kay says, she believes that she also had something to do with the planning of what happened on October 2nd, 2019. To make it clear, Lori Vallow Daybell wasn't even at the scene of the crime. Lori Daybell was in Idaho, basically created an alibi for her brother Alex Cox, who shot a bullet from the back of a Jeep window outside Brandon's home. So, but they were able to prove that Lori conspired. She didn't have to be in Gilbert at the time of the shooting. Okay,
let me start asking some of these questions. You guys in the chat, fire away if you've got questions for Justin. Here's Brandy the bookworm. She's got 2. Let's go to question number 1. Has it ever been said what killed the kids? I mean, this is a gruesome topic, but I'm sure people are wondering. Hopefully they were not buried alive, but do we really know?
So for JJ Vallow, the cause of death was asphyxiation. So he was suffocated, and then he was wrapped in duct tape and plastic, and he was as well as a garbage bag, and so he was buried after that. As far as Tylee Ryan, we know the cause of death is clearly, the manner is homicide, but they could not identify the cause of death because of the state of her remains. They said they were charred and really just her remains were dismembered. And so they had to identify her by dental records. So it's clearly murder, and Lori Daybell has gone on the record in court as well and said that no murders happen and that accidents do happen and that her kids are happy and safe in another spiritual realm. So she gets very religious. She goes on, but the evidence is there that they were murdered. And if she had no part in that, then why would she not cooperate with authorities and say something happened to my children? They need justice.
Exactly.
So how do you defend that ever?
And what about Chad Daybell? I mean, we hear so much about Lori. What is the status of, where he stands in the legal system, and are we going to hear any more from him or about him?
Well, with capital cases, immediately there's an appeals process for him, but he's on death row, and he's at the same prison as Brian Koperger. Brian Kohberger.
Right. Okay.
Brian Kohberger is not on death row, obviously, for getting the plea agreement, but they're in the same prison. But Chad Daybell is the one on death row for killing J.J. Tiley, his wife, Tammy Daybell. Tammy was also, cause of death was asphyxiation, I believe. But remember, Chad did not get an autopsy for her after the murder. According to the dispatch, she was sent to the funeral home right away. It took this investigation and suspicion for authorities to say we need to exhume her body out of her Utah grave. And that wasn't until a couple months later. So if she had been cremated, we may not have known that she was murdered, and we may not have had that evidence presented, most likely. So he has the same charges, except that he has the first-degree murder conviction on his wife.
So another question for you here. I'm just going to play off of one of the remarks from Michael Donovan, who says, kind of reminds me of the Manson murder. So let me ask you, Justin, as our number one expert here at Fox 10, just in terms of digging into not just the legal case, but sort of the mindset of Lori. How was she able to have sway over so many people to get them to commit such horrific crimes?
That's a good question. I mean, I wish I knew her better outside of, watching her in court and on videos. But you talk to people who have been close to her. She has sort of this strange charm, I guess. People who have been, either her family, former friends. She's been able to manipulate. Even one of the prosecutors on her Idaho trial, told me that she has this way with people. But to the extent that people are actually murdered, I don't know how that happens. You need total buy-in from co-conspirators. But the core belief here was that they, Lori, Chad, and Alex, felt that they were meant to lead the chosen ones when the end of times came. And that in former lives that they were very, very special people and linked to very powerful biblical figures. I mean, she believed, according to the trial evidence, she believed that she was married to Moroni in the past and things of that nature. So I think it's just that belief system that motivated all this.
Well, it's bizarre to say the least. We'll follow the case. Justin, thank you for your time.
Thank you, guys.
And we'll see if there are new developments now that we know there's an appeal coming. We will be right back. First, here's your Mystery Cam. Well, Syleste joins as well.
Hi, Ron.
Everybody can
Hello,
celebrate.
Everyone.
Syleste, I like the kind of the stone arch bridge that's going on, a very old-fashioned bridge. And this feels to me like one of those cities that boomed in earlier times. This is our poll question, or our poll question. This is our mystery cam.
Yes.
And you guys can give us your guesses. I see a Nashville.
Oklahoma City, Michael Donovan.
Okay.
We've got several people chiming in this morning. St. Paul, Minnesota.
Okay.
We've got a Kentucky from Little Philosophy.
Uh-huh.
So we've got some good Minneapolis. Steve Dockstader. Louis Gonzalez says Alabama.
Okay.
Isn't that good? And look at those blue skies with those pretty clouds. Clouds Bob Ross would be proud to say. Pretty cloud, pretty cloud.
No, don't you love watching those old reruns of Bob Ross? Let's see. So Kentucky, Tennessee. It is definitely an older kind of a skyline.
Yes.
Now, I'm curious about St. Paul because I was just up there a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
But what I don't see is the state capitol, because it is the state capitol. And boy, is that one beautiful state capital, by the way.
Does this look anything like Memphis? Like, it looks like a mid-level big city. I'm going to go Tennessee with Brandy the Bookworm. I'm going to go Tennessee.
Okay.
What about you, Ron?
Like it. I think I'm going to go, I'm really tempted to go St. Paul, and if I get it wrong, because I was just there, I'm going to feel like a total dodo bird.
Dodo bird.
I don't mean to insult dodo birds, but...
Is that a real thing? Is a dodo bird a real thing?
Oh, yes, Celeste. Wait, now Louis is saying Alabama. And we have a lot of
Oh
good
my
questions
goodness, a
here.
dodo bird is a flightless bird with quite the schnauzer.
And don't you find on this show, Celeste, as opposed to all these other time filler type YouTube shows, on our show you learn something new every day.
Oh my goodness.
Look at you.
Can I show this? I need to turn this around. Can I show?
I suppose.
Oh
I don't know.
my
Maybe
gosh.
not. I don't know what the rules are.
It's on Google.
Can she show it, Big D?
Look at that bird.
There's the. Okay,
That is
good.
the strangest looking bird I've ever seen.
There you go.
Just get yourself a parakeet. Next time, call yourself a parakeet.
Okay, I'm going to say that it's Peoria, Illinois. Well, let's see what the guess
Illinois.
is here.
Okay.
All right, ready?
All right,
Here we go.
all right.
Okay.
Oh, St.
Oh,
Paul,
it is St. Paul.
Minnesota.
Okay, so I am a dodo bird. How about that? Let's go back and look. Why do I not see the state capitol? Maybe it's because it's hidden by all those other buildings.
I think Dean Fazzini was trying to pull the wool over eyes, and it worked.
He was. By the way, now that I know that's St. Paul, would you care to guess what river in Minnesota that is?
What is the river?
You know, we'll make it multiple choice.
Okay,
ready?
Thank you, because...
Is it the Mississippi, the Missouri, or the Minnesota? I gave you all three M's. The Mississippi, the Missouri, or the Minnesota.
I'm going to go the Mississippi.
It is the Mississippi.
Is it really?
Ladies and gentlemen, there she is. Celeste.
I need to buy a Powerball ticket.
Yeah.
By the way,
no kidding.
Dave Brousseau in the chat said it's also extinct. The dodo bird.
Right. By the way, when I was up in St. Paul, I met this most interesting guy. St. Paul was the hangout for Gangsterland USA because they had a police chief there who basically said, look, if you're a gangster and you're trying to get out of where the heat is, Chicago or wherever, come up here. This is according to the walking tour I went on.
Okay.
And we'll let you just hang in our city, no questions asked. We just have three things that we ask of you.
3 rules.
3 rules. And so number 1 is commit no crimes while you're in our city.
Okay.
Number 2 is make sure you have a phone line wherever you are so we can call you to alert you if the feds or anybody else are coming down on you.
Oh, wow.
Can you
so
believe
it's like
it?
a hiding spot.
And number 3, make sure everybody gets paid.
Oh,
Can you believe it? And I mean, John Dillinger was hanging out there, Ma Barker, I mean, Babyface Nelson, all the classic names that you hear about.
How crazy.
I know, it was really wild.
You know, you never think about that with like Minneapolis, you know?
I know.
And then in St. Paul, they have this beautiful big cathedral, right?
Oh, yes.
Maybe that's where they all went for confession.
So every week they're in the clear.
They are
Yeah.
repenting of their sins in the confession booth.
Yeah, exactly. All right. We have several other stories we want to get to you this morning, including, did you hear there was a shooting right out in front. I mean, steps away from a popular breakfast joint here in town. I'm talking about IHOP. And it was the one over about 19th Avenue and Northern. And it only happened a few hours ago. It was 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
It was an officer-involved shooting.
Yes.
And they did, I thought, a really good job, their Phoenix PD. They got out there, put out as much information as they had. And here is some of what got said.
Today, around 4 a.m., officers responded to the area of 20th Avenue and Northern regarding a trespassing call. When officers were en route, the call did get upgraded to a man cutting himself inside the establishment. The first officer arrived on scene and contacted the man just outside the establishment. The officer gave commands and attempted to de-escalate the situation. However, the man started to walk towards him and revealed that he was holding a large hatchet. The officer continued to give commands and tell the man to stop as the officer backed up. The man continued to walk towards him. 2 additional officers arrived on scene. A less lethal tool was used in order to gain compliance and get the man to stop. However, the man continued to walk towards the officers. When incidents like this occur, these are very traumatic incidents, not only for our officers, but for our community members. In this case, we had an establishment that had community members inside that, were being threatened in this situation. It is very tense, it's very fluid and very violent in this type of situation. So it's important for us to come out, give support to our officers and our community members and let them know that we're here for them. So in these instances, officers go through hours and hours of continuous training, not only just to get certified on less lethal tools, but they also continue their training, and we call them quarterly training, where they go in and they get trained and they go through different types of scenarios. So all of those incidents lead up to that officer making those decisions. I can't tell you for an exact, this is exactly when you do it. It's going to be based on each individual scene, how a person is responding to just at least verbal commands, and then go from there. So it's difficult to say exactly when an officer decides to use them, but we always want to try to de-escalate any situation before it gets to this point.
So how anyone can have a hatchet on them and refuse to obey an officer's command is mind-boggling. I mean, unless there are drugs involved or something else going on there.
Well, there might be. We don't know that yet, right? They're still looking into it.
It just makes no sense.
Well, and coming out of a popular, it's late at night or early in the morning, but still they're open 24 hours. Everybody knows they are.
Yeah, and it's 4 a.m. You might even have some early risers who grab breakfast before they go to work.
Right. It's not too far off the I-17 there, so it might even be people, passing by through the city. Well, pretty scary stuff.
My understanding is when they did finally open fire, that the suspect went down quickly. They did try to deploy life-saving measures right there on scene and then rushed him to the hospital. So we'll stay on top of that story as the day goes on. Let's shift, Celeste, if you're okay with this, to the world of politics. Lately it's been all about Texas. There's the opening prayer, how they start their session there at the state capitol in Austin. There's the banging of the gavel. And what do you know? It's full again.
Wow.
We have Democrats and Republicans there.
Lots of smiles, Ron. I saw some smiles.
Yeah. I heard an interview with one of the Democrats who did not flee the state. But just they were being asked, what about...
oh, there it is right there.
Yeah, no kidding.
Reunited, and it feels so good.
Yeah, okay, good. Any Peaches and Herb song that you want to bring up, Celeste, is all to the good. Anyway, it looks like they're going to move forward now with the redistricting plan, but I think maybe the Democrats there felt like we can do it because California is going to balance it out and try to create 5 new blue congressional districts there. So, maybe they felt like, plus, you can't hold up the business forever at the legislature. So since we're talking politics, the president says he is ready, in fact, is prepared to sign an executive order to get rid of mail-in ballots, as well as certain voting machines ahead of the big midterms in 2026. He says there are certain machines that he feels could be somewhat inaccurate. He also says they're more expensive and, frankly, less reliable than counting paper ballots. Now, the thing about it is this, and we're going to be live with a national correspondent later this morning in our 11:30 half hour to talk a little bit about what are the practicalities if this is signed can it actually go into effect? You would expect a legal battle.
Yes.
But the White House, I guess they feel like they're on pretty firm ground. So here is our poll question this morning. And boy, Syleste, we are right down the middle on this one.
Look at that.
Goodness. What do you see here?
So here's the question for you. President Trump wants to end mail-in ballots. What are your thoughts on this? 49% of you say good. There's too much risk of fraud. Slightly less than that, but nearly half, 46% say bad. Mail-in is an easier way to vote. Only 5% of you say it works in Arizona. Other states can change it. They have issues. I'll give you, here's a thought, and I don't know entirely if this is the norm or not. It's probably not.
Okay.
Having a conversation several years ago with someone who votes by mail.
Yeah.
And they have family members who vote by mail.
Okay.
But the family members of this particular person, they don't usually vote.
Oh.
So the person who does vote says, give me your ballots and I'll vote for you.
Ooh, that's a no-no.
That is a huge no-no.
Yeah.
And when this person shared this story with me, I said, you have to be kidding me.
Yeah, really.
But I wonder if that happens more than we think.
I do too.
And so it's just there's Big D.
Yeah.
We always love the big red machine.
Well,
and the ballot bomb.
Yeah, we've got about a minute left here before our break. Dave, what are you seeing for comments? And by the way, I'm going to pop up the YouTube poll question as well. It's also pretty evenly split. They're right in line with each other. What do you see, bud?
Yeah, tons of good comments here. Ruth A. Stauffer Edmonds in Phoenix says eliminating mail-in voting will eliminate people with disabilities and election workers. You cannot vote if you're working the polls. Stacy Ludwigs in Mesa says, I like the mail-in voting because I can take my time and review things I'm on the fence on. Hokey Pokey Potts says, I'd be all for it if the government opened lots more polling places so that people don't have to stand in line for hours to be able to vote.
So true.
This is from 15 walking away. This will work in the rural areas because they don't work as much. Urban and suburban people actually work and can't wait all day in line to vote. And last but not least, Vanguard W says make Election Day a holiday so everyone can vote easily, not just retired people or people that can easily take time off.
Yeah.
There's so many good comments.
Yeah, very thoughtful.
And don't forget my idea that you make tax day Election Day. You have to pay your taxes on the same day you vote.
So then you're
Right?
angry when you head to the polls?
Well, or,
Ron?
I don't know. Maybe you're doing your civic duty and you're like, I'm so happy to pay these taxes now. How am I going to vote for? Anyway, let's take a break, and we're back in 2 minutes with Fox 10 Talks. You know, the smart comments don't just come in when Dave's reading the important and serious poll question.
That's very true.
For example, Brandy the Bookworm says, talk of making Election Day a holiday reminds me of wanting to make the Monday after Super Bowl a holiday. Or switching it to Super Bowl Saturday.
You can switch it to Super Bowl Saturday. NFL plays on Sundays.
Correct.
Every Sunday.
But you can give them the Monday off, right? What do we have to do to start that movement?
I don't know, but Michael Lewis, he loves the holiday idea, he says. In the chat.
Okay.
Linda Monter says you can vote early in person at your county recorder's office. Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Yes, that's a good point.
And then Jen's Wall says, Ron's had too much coffee or something. Taxes, are you nuts?
Hey, I'm just saying. Why not?
Well, taxes aren't even in the Constitution, Ron.
I actually have a theory that tax day is purposely as far apart from election. It's 6 months.
Oh, is it exactly?
Correct.
Almost?
Almost to the day. Because April 15th would be like November 15th anyway. Whatever. Okay, we got a big story that we're going to be following for you guys on FTT for the next several days. And we have Bella in here to talk a little bit about it. Boy, this hurricane is really gaining some strength. It kind of goes back and forth between a 4 and a 3, right? That kind of a thing. What are you finding out about it?
Yeah, well, the good news is it has been brought down to a hurricane level 2 right now. It was a 5 at its strongest point, but as of this morning, they bumped it down to a 2. However, as we know, the strength can continue to fluctuate, and that could change at any point. But as of this morning, it is passing east of the Bahamas, and if you take a look at that radar picture, it is currently going through eye wall replacement, so it's kind of hard to see the exact point that the storm is at. But the good news is, as of right now, it is not making any impacts on land. Right now, as it's passing east of the Bahamas, the path it's going in is northwest before it shifts and curves, takes a sharp turn to move north and east. But, as I mentioned, it's not hitting land, so there's no direct impacts to the land, which is good, but there is going to be some indirect impacts that we need to pay attention to. And these impacts can be felt all the way from down to Florida up to New England, possibly Canada. So that's going to be very, very high winds.
So you're talking about, the winds. Is there any threat of like a storm surge or that kind of thing?
Well, it's funny you mention that because we're also tracking right in its path 2 other tropical storms are forming. So over the next few days, we will see how strong or significant those get. But this is mainly going to be hitting the Carolinas. So think the Outer Banks, the coastal Carolinas. And with that, there is the risk of very dangerous riptides as well as some pretty high waves. There's already a couple of tropical storm watches in those Carolinas that are in effect right now, just to look out for those waves.
Wild as well is, Ron, if we can put that video back up, you can see the lightning sparking. We don't see that very often with this type of video. This video and story is trending because of the lightning that you see there at the eye of that storm. We had a live look earlier this morning on the morning show of the Bahamas. Sunny skies, partly cloudy, like you could, it didn't even look like there was a storm or a possible hurricane miles away in the ocean. But that is absolutely beautiful. Like it's dangerous, obviously, but fortunately it's not hurting anyone right now.
Yeah, and the reason you're seeing all of that lightning in that is because there's such a high frequency charge in the storm. So that just goes to show how much power is associated with the storm. I did text 2 of my friends who are in Florida right now. One of them's in Orlando and one of them is in West Palm Beach. And they both said all they see is sunny skies, not a cloud in the sky. So we'll continue to see what happens as it moves closer to the land.
By the way, as Isabella speaks on this topic, do you sense a certain level of professionalism that I don't have? That's because Bella, you were telling us you're right on the verge of becoming a full-blown meteorologist. Congrats, early congratulations.
I have 4 classes left,
so
thanks.
Are these hard ones?
What are the classes that you have to
They're
finish?
so hard. They are so hard. I just finished climatological meteorology.
Wow.
So the next 4 classes I have are really in-depth. I mean, I can read a radar, so these ones are like the math and the science. And in the reading, all the complicated things. But I'm excited. So
congratulations.
So cool.
Thank
That's
you.
pretty big.
Thank you so
we
much.
need to rely on Bella a lot more. First, for your fan club.
Thank you.
And secondly, just to talk weather. I mean, you did weather in Tucson when we hired you to come up here.
I did. For 2 years, I forecasted 2 monsoons in southern Arizona, which is pretty dangerous. They were deadly. And I also did forecast a hurricane that was here last summer. Not in Arizona, but
well,
on
you're
the
getting
coast.
lots of love in the chat as well. Like Brandy the
Thanks.
Bookworm, Linda Monter, Jen's Wall. Everyone's saying, hey, congrats to Bella.
That's so
you guys.
great.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
so since we have you here, let's talk about another member of the weather team. Did you guys see what happened in Corey's forecast last night?
Oh, let's take a look.
Let's
Okay.
take a look.
This is really, you have to look closely, but we're going to zoom in because he's in the middle of giving the forecast, and all of a sudden, off on the in the distance, you can see a shooting star. Isn't that cool? Ready? Here we go. Okay, we're going to roll it. There's Corey. Phoenix 99. Look, we highlight. There it went.
Wow.
Just to the left of the PH in Phoenix.
Are you sure it was a shooting star?
Uh-huh.
Like, we did have the Phoenix lights here. Is this sparking a big controversy on what it could be?
That's been 25 years or so, so we could start that rumor and milk it for the next 25 years, Celeste. Well, it could be as a result of the Perseid meteor shower.
Oh, potentially.
But that peaked last week, but we're still seeing some meteors out there. Way off in space somewhere. One of our eagle-eyed viewers, that was Amber, who spotted it and pointed it out. And I just thought that was kind of cool, right?
So if you didn't know, when those are flying through the sky like that, that's a meteor, but it's burning. It's on fire. So that's why that light sparks like that and, gets the name of a shooting star. But it's a burning meteor in the sky.
Yeah, very
like
cool.
that.
Okay, how about another non-weather related topic?
Oh,
but
man.
one that we can all relate to. And you've flown a lot of places, so let me ask you about this. The question is as simple as this, ladies. If you pay for a window seat, should you get an actual window? Because, sometimes on some planes, depending on how they're configured, you've got 2 or 3 different rows there that are you're kind of squished up against the end, but there's no window.
That happened to us on Southwest once.
Really?
So I'm traveling with my daughter. This is, I think, maybe at least 2 months ago, 3 months ago.
Okay.
And she sits down, sees the row wide open. So she sits down and I don't notice at first. I sit in the middle seat so somebody can have the aisle, and she's on the quote unquote window seat. And we took a second, and I said, Kiana, there's no window there. And she's kind of looking to so we got up and we moved. But if you pay, now Southwest is a little different because you get to choose the seats, at least for right now. But if you pay for a window seat, you should get a window.
Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise you're just in the corner and nobody puts baby in the corner.
Right. Now, you do get a better opportunity to sleep.
At least Big D.
Yeah, right?
Got chuckle
Right?
there.
Don't you get a better opportunity to sleep when you're over there, up against a wall?
You do, but what happens if you got to go potty? It's either the aisle's better than a no window seat, especially if you pay for it.
Bella, what are your thoughts here on this?
Well, I love sleeping on the plane, so I do always get the window seat, but not because I want to look out the window. It's so I can shut the window and have a whole wall to sleep on.
Yeah. Now, that's another thing we could get into. Let's say you're in the middle seat or you're in the aisle.
Yes.
And you're kind of looking forward to flying over, I don't know, let's say you're flying out of Seattle and you're coming down here.
Oh,
you want to
beautiful.
see Mount Rainier, right?
So
you want to see Mount Hood. You want to see Crater Lake.
Somebody closes it.
Correct. All because they're going to watch some movie that you're not interested in.
Or asleep.
Yeah.
So should it be put up to a vote with the whole row? Should that be the way we handle this, or?
I think it's their prerogative. Yeah. If it's their seat, it's their prerogative. But I will say, if they have a sleepy mask on, which at times does happen, I may open up the reach. If I'm in the middle, I might reach over and pump it up a little bit and peek through and then drop it back down. If they're sleeping with the sleepy mask.
Correct. If you're on the sunny side of the plane and you open it just a little bit and you're like,
blinds everybody.
Yeah, it's too much.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, anyway, the bottom line is there is a lawsuit coming out of California, class action. They are saying, look, the airlines charge extra for window seats And they said specifically that Delta and United were singled out because other airlines like American actually alert you that some seats don't have a window if you think you're booking a window. So speaking of the airlines, you guys, Celeste, I'm still thinking about your story of the day today.
Yes.
Which is airline food. And this study that says our perception of how food tastes changes with altitude.
It does.
It does.
It does.
Really?
So,
You're-
okay, Bella agrees.
Okay.
And in the chat, let us know, maybe best airline food, worst airline food, or if you think this is in fact the truth.
Right.
The study says it changes with altitude, and we lose our ability to taste how salty the food is.
interesting.
The higher you are?
The
up in
higher you
elevation?
are,
And do
yes.
you believe this too, Bella?
I do, but I
Okay.
do think there's multiple things that could influence your taste.
Yes.
I think Celeste can agree with this because we've talked about this a lot, but
Okay.
POG on the flight to
Oh,
Hawaii.
yeah, POG.
So in real life, or I guess on the floor, not in real life,
Yeah.
on the ground, I don't drink POG because it's a little too sweet,
Yeah.
passion orange guava juice.
Yeah, it's called
But
POG.
on Alaska flights, they always serve it to you when you're flying to Hawaii. And when I'm in the air at the high elevation,
Okay.
maybe it's because I'm going to Hawaii, maybe because I'm excited. It tastes amazing.
Yeah, and I think it's something about making you feel like you're in the islands already.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, let me just tell you as a little bit of a cheapskate. When I'm in like row 19 and I get one of those Sun Chips bags, which is like 0.05 ounces.
Oh, yeah.
You know, there's like 4
Filled
chips
a
in there.
fourth.
It tastes the same at 36,000 as it does at 4,000. Whenever you, whenever
Maybe
else.
your taste buds are built different, Ron.
Yeah, maybe so.
You know, maybe they're not burnt up by all the jalapenos I've been consuming all my life. You know.
By the way, the in this study, they said that the best in the world, the best food that you get on an airline is Emirates,
Yes.
Singapore, and Turkish Airlines.
Yeah, I will
believe
say,
it.
we flew direct from Madrid to LA,
Okay.
on the Spanish Airlines,
Oh,
and I was
Ibarra?
Ibarra,
Yeah.
yes, and I was a little like concerned because
Okay.
whenever you fly like a
new airline.
from another
Oh,
country,
can you
you're like,
trust them? I don't know. You're just checking where the emergency exit. I got you, Celeste.
I am. But I was so pleasantly surprised. First of all, we don't fly with the kids like first class. We are economy people.
Yeah.
We have a family putting food on the table. And everybody got a blanket, everybody got a mask, everybody got
Wow.
meals, everybody got drinks and multiple meals. Desserts. It was
Oh, like
amazing.
the 3-course.
The 3-course. So I think the
Mhm.
European airline and the World Airlines, they
Yep.
just
I
treat
agree.
you a little bit different.
I'm very
I
grateful
agree.
that we're having Starlux starting to fly into Sky Harbor and China Airlines
Yes.
and Air France all
Yeah.
within this last year.
Where is Starlux flying
They're
from?
flying in and out of nonstop from here to Taipei.
Ooh.
Got to take a break. Back in 2 minutes. Thanks, Bella.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. You know, not every break is a mystery, Cam, so we don't even have to guess what that town is, Celeste.
No, but
a lot of bridges.
And some cars that are following the rules, like,
Sure.
3 cars between them, 3-car lengths. You can tell nobody's on a car chase or not in LA or anything like that.
The guy in the silver car who's just about to cross the bridge here, he's moving at a little high rate of speed, if you ask me.
Maybe he's got a doctor's appointment.
Speaking of, our next guest, we're excited to have her, that's for sure, is Dr. Rusha Shah, who is a gastroenterologist with Honor Health here in the Valley. And you've got a kind of an interesting topic that we wanted to chat with you a little bit today because...
Good morning, by the way. Welcome. Yeah, good to see you.
We all have these, right? We all have our phones. By the way, a lot of people are watching today.
Yeah, they are.
I just noticed
They
that.
are.
See that? Look at that on YouTube, Doc.
Wonderful.
Look at that. Okay. So, anyway, we're talking cell phones. Celeste, I think that Dr. Shah is as good a guest as anybody that we've had here when it comes to germs
Yeah, okay, yeah.
and the phone.
And are we talking the potty room too?
Yeah,
Yeah, we're talking
sort
the
of are.
potty room. I mean, you say, Dr. Shah, when you have a child and you say you're the poop doc. I mean, that's kind of like, our gut's a big deal.
Yeah.
Stomach is a big deal, how our body processes things.
I think the problem is sometimes we're taking it with us outside of the throne room.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. Yeah.
So, one of the problems is you sit and what's the negatives of doing that? We think you're just running away from your kids unless you're a mom.
Right.
And you're not hiding.
I'm right there with
then
you,
it's
yes.
a well-deserved timeout.
Yes.
But, what really happens when you're sitting and scrolling for so long?
So what happens?
So the problem is the longer you sit and the more you strain, the increased risk you have of developing hemorrhoids.
Oh.
And hemorrhoids are pretty common. About 4 in 10 Americans do develop hemorrhoids. Those are small varicose veins at the lower part of your rectum and your anus that some people can feel, some itch, and then, God forbid, some bleed.
Yeah.
So those develop with prolonged straining, sitting for a long time, putting a lot of pressure, which all happen if you're sitting for longer.
So everybody who might be watching right now and saying to themselves, but sometimes I do have to strain, what advice do you have?
Yeah, so I talk about 3 things.
Okay.
Fiber.
Yeah.
So men need 30 grams of fiber, women need 25 to 30, and our standard American diet gets us about 10 to 15.
Oh, so we need way
So
more.
we're way off.
Yeah.
Then we talk about fluid. You need to be drinking half of your weight in ounces. So
Okay.
you're a 150-pound guy, you need to be drinking at least 75 ounces of water a day.
Meaning water and nothing
Plain
else,
water.
even
No
like
juice.
healthy juices
No
and
juice,
none of
no
that.
teas.
Okay,
Coffee.
Plain water. Nope,
Right.
that doesn't count.
right.
And then the third thing is your foot position. So
Really?
raising your feet and elevating your knees above your hips actually helps improve the angle so that you don't sit for too long, so you're not straining for so long.
So how do we do that? You mean like taking like I don't know, like sitting in the child's pose, or like what do you mean?
So there's a whole company called Squatty Potty, if you haven't heard of it.
Okay.
It's one of my most recommended things. It doesn't have to be a squatty potty, but any stool that allows your knees to come up above the angle of your hips.
Oh, like a little footstool
Yeah.
that you could have in the restroom.
Yeah. I just
Oh.
tuck mine under the toilet. They come in different
Okay.
colors. There's a bamboo version.
Oh, and you
now.
put your feet on the little stool and it raises your knees higher than your waistline when you're going number 2.
Yeah, it actually opens up
gotcha.
that angle.
Interesting. Is it true? I was listening. I follow a bunch of people on Instagram and they talk a lot about gut health and things like that. You were mentioning the intestines and digestive system. Is it true that women's intestines are longer than men's?
So not necessarily longer, but typically shorter distance. And so
Oh.
women do have more risk of having a twisted colon, or they get told you have a redundant colon or a spastic colon. So women's anatomy is a bit different because there are more organs there. And part of the colon free floats. So those organs kind of push and move it around. So
Is there something different we should be doing as females? Or consuming or anything
just
like that?
making sure that you're really fiber focused.
Okay.
Yeah, the fiber focused is probably my most important recommendation.
Do you have a preference on fiber, say like a Metamucil, or versus eating a lot of fibrous fruit, or I guess is any fiber good fiber?
Yeah, so the key to fiber is diversity. Making sure that you're having at least, I think the key is at least 10 different fruits and vegetables a day. a variety.
10.
And including whole grains, vegetables, fruits.
Yeah. Okay.
And then in terms of supplementation, it's really what works for you. I typically recommend either Benefiber or Metamucil if the powder works for you. Gets you a bonus 8 ounces of water.
Yeah. I highly recommend the gummies. Maybe I'm looking around the room here. Anybody else on the gummies? Anybody?
Ron, I don't do. What kind of gummies are you talking about?
Metamucil has gummies.
Those gummies. I thought you were going to go a different direction.
Because the powder, sometimes you're, moving around.
It causes some bloating for a lot of people.
Oh,
Yes.
So some tablets and gummies can be helpful as well.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's good. I have a question too. Okay, let's say you're on the toilet, you're straining a little bit, and this comes from being a mom. Like your kids are like, I can't go, I'm constipated. If I were to give them grapes or like those cutie oranges, how fast after consuming something like that with a lot of fiber is your body able to pass what it needs to pass?
Yeah. So fun fact, people always say, well, what I just ate caused me problems. The stomach takes 4 hours to empty. The small intestine takes 6 to 8 hours, and the colon takes around 12 hours in a normal working system.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's definitely not what you just ate, but what you just ate can help get things going. So for kids, my secret weapon is actually dragon fruit.
Oh, okay. That's good to know. It's delicious. It's pretty. It's like pink.
Yeah. For adults, it's prunes with hot butter. Warm it up.
Ooh.
It'll make you
butter the prunes.
Okay, so hold on. Give us that recipe.
Is a hot tip today.
we love people. We love food here on FTT, and so does the chat box.
Yeah.
So do you warm the butter in the pan?
Prune juice, butter, heat it up.
Prune juice and butter.
And drink it.
Oh, so you don't butter the prunes.
Not butter the prunes.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
prune
okay.
juice.
Yeah.
Warm the butter, melt the butter, pour it in the prune juice, and then consume it.
There you go.
All right, so closing thoughts here. We've covered a lot of ground, and we know we need to do a better job of hydrating. We got to do a better job with our fiber. What else should we know just in terms of overall lifestyle?
Yeah. So I think the most important thing is having a good routine for training your bowels to go is important. So don't sit for too long. If you can't go, get up, go for a walk, and come back. Don't force your body because you can actually untrain your body to get out of sync. So trying to stay on a routine is really helpful.
Okay.
Not forcing your body, making sure that you're focusing on overall wellness instead of worried about day to day. If you can't go today, that's okay. That doesn't mean there's something wrong with you.
Okay.
Try again tomorrow.
What about chia pudding? Chia seeds, they Ron's face.
I brought some for everybody.
Did you really? Oh my gosh, I love
I'll
chia
give you
pudding.
my recipe.
Okay.
My daughter and I make it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's really actually it expands, right? And then it can kind of get into those areas of your intestines and pull all the yuck out.
Yeah, that's the benefit of fiber.
Wow.
Wow. See,
Okay,
Ron?
How are
Ron?
you? Okay. Fine. Good. I would rather ask my question now, which is, what about red meat? Is it okay to have some good, healthy steaks or burgers every so often?
Maybe we should let Syleste ask some more questions. I don't know if you'll like my answer. Yeah, every once in a while, Ron, it's fine. But when we talk about a diet that's red meat forward, there are some information out there that says that when we have that, they can cause inflammation to the gut flora, and actually it can cause some bad players. So we like the fiber. It feeds the good bacteria and is actually protective of colon cancer.
Dr. Shaw, we hope you'll come in and visit with us again.
Yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
so good.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you guys.
Nice to meet you as well.
Great having you on. By
Good
the way,
info.
there was a method behind my madness because there's a brand new steakhouse coming to America, and these two guys are in it.
Yes, they are.
Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce are getting into the restaurant business. They're going to open a steakhouse, of course, in Kansas City.
I know. I wonder if they're going 50-50 on this. You think like the profits when they come in, it's going to go 50-50?
Oh, yeah.
You know, or do you think Patrick Mahomes is like, I'm the QB, I'm going to, it's going to be like 60-40?
Travis, I think, is every bit as big a name.
Did you see the info on this, though, the steakhouse? Apparently, there's going to have a steak viewing room.
Oh, good. I like
so,
that.
like, for example, there's a place called Knife in Dallas. I think they're still open. You walk right in, and there's a window. You can look in the window, and you see the meat aging. And so they'll have like, and it sounds pretty gross actually, because you can see the aging process, but it's super delicious when you consume it. So I think that's part of, we're having fun here.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
But I think that's what they're having, that viewing room with the steak.
I wonder about guys who probably don't know a lot about the restaurant business getting into the restaurant.
Well, I wonder who they hired as to run the place.
They got to hire somebody.
I mean, it's not like you're going to see them at the hostess desk saying, "Hey guys, welcome on in."
I know. But I thought when I saw this, well, that's because they want a steakhouse. They can go have a free steak any night they want.
Oh yeah,
Patrick or
well,
Travis.
and a fancy spot with apparently a pretty large wine list.
Oh, at this place?
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be upscale now.
I mean, they might have
Big mistake.
close to like $10,000 bottles of wine, Ron.
Big
That's
mistake.
right up your alley.
Yeah. What about the Ponderosa Steakhouse? I mean, there's a niche in there that they're completely not thinking about.
I know. I'm with you.
Anyway, it's going to open in Kansas City. It's going to be, if you're ever in KCMO, you would go to the Lowe's Hotel in downtown Kansas City and you'd look for 1587 Prime. Let's predict, what are the odds? Ty joins as well. What are the odds? Greater that they're out of business in 5 years or they have many locations around the country?
Oh. It's going to be the next
I think
Outback.
Ooh. Or a Texas Roadhouse?
Yeah.
I like those steaks.
Yeah.
I actually think that they
Are going to make it?
They're going to make it.
Okay.
And I think maybe they'll just have 1 or 2 locations in Kansas City.
Oh.
And I just think it'll be like a Durant's. It's going to be where all the big time names go hang out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's Durant's is coming back, people.
Is it?
Yeah.
Ty, make a note on your next contract negotiation. Go to Durant's.
You know what, Ron? They can save a lot of money with me.
Yeah.
Vegetarian.
Oh, that's right. Okay. So what's your favorite salad bar? Maybe the
We were
boss
talking
could-
about sweet tomatoes.
Well, we were talking about sweet tomatoes, Ron, because I got a grocery delivered here, baked potato, because it's National Baked Potato Day.
Of course.
So if anybody wants to bake potato, I have a bag of them and all the fixings in the bistro.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah,
gotta
and so
go
we
make 'em.
we have to we throw them in the microwave.
I can't believe I asked Ty that question. I've only known you've been a vegetarian for like 10 years.
Yeah, as long as I've been here.
Durant's they do bring out this like little veggie tray. I don't know if they'll keep it when they reopen, but they had a veggie tray and it had like an olive, couple of radish, celery.
I thought you were going to say an olive, and that's in your martini.
Yeah. So anyway, the boss and your agent, they can have the big porterhouse steak, and you can chew on the carrots. And
There you go. Just take all of the olives from their martinis and eat those.
Hey, Ty, what's coming up next hour?
We got a lot going on. So we're talking to Lauren. She did a story yesterday. This one kind of got a lot of people talking about Trump, talking about he wanted to eliminate the potential of mail-in ballots. So she talked to some local leaders here about that. And then we're going to talk to Danielle. She was out all morning long at that horrible incident at IHOP. She's got the latest on that coming up.
Stick with us.
Have a great day. Hi, everyone. Hello. It's Tuesday. Okay. Terrific Tuesday. Terrible Tuesday. This is a very well today. I'm going to be honest. For me today, I'm a tired Tuesday kind of girl.
Yes.
I slept fairly decently, but I'm just dry. I'm tired today.
Yeah, the clouds don't really help with that.
Yeah. But how do you feel about Tuesdays?
Tuesday is probably my third favorite day. Of the week.
Wow.
Yes. Friday is definitely up
Number
there.
one.
Yeah. Saturday and then probably a Tuesday.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you like
Tuesdays?
Yeah, not too bad. It's like you're kind of it's not Monday. So usually you're getting some work done and everything. And
Ty and I feel the opposite.
Yeah,
because we feel like Monday, it's like fine, it's the beginning of the week, fresh new changes, and then Tuesday's like, I'm tired. It's Tuesday, I don't want to work. Wednesday's like halfway through. Thursday's almost Friday. Friday's Friday.
Friday is Friday.
Yeah.
All right. Well, should we get into it?
Yeah.
We got a lot going on here on this Tuesday. Lauren, let's talk about this because it's got a lot of people talking yesterday. Trump talked about the potential of he wants to take away mail-in voting.
Yes.
And let's get right into the law of this. He can't sign an executive order that just takes away mail-in voting, rather.
Because it's up to the state.
Yes, there is in the Constitution, there is a provision that does say it is up to the state for the time, manner, and place of holding these elections. So what a lot of critics have pointed out is, this is probably unconstitutional, and doing so via an executive order, well, that's super unprecedented. We spoke to Stephen Richer, former Maricopa County recorder, and he said, this is not, also no lawyer, by the way, this is something we have never really seen, an executive order regarding trying to do the elections in this manner. But even aside from the constitutional issues, there's also this idea of this is a really popular means of voting for people. Nationally, we saw a study that said it was about 30% of Americans chose to do mail-in ballots. And here in Arizona, believe it or not, that number is much, much higher. We spoke to Adrian Fontes, the Secretary of State of Arizona, and we've had mail-in ballots for a very long time here within the state. And he was actually telling me around 85% or so of Arizonans choose to use this method.
That's a huge number. 85%.
That is a huge number.
Yeah.
And so he says this isn't going to be very feasible if this were to go through. He even went so far as to call this, when he heard about it yesterday, quote, bonkers and quote, completely off the wall.
When he says feasible and not feasible in which way? Possibly trying to reverse the laws, not feasible as in everybody wouldn't be able to vote. We have in a big retirement population in Arizona.
Yes. Yeah. It's the logistics of that. It's the, the law aspect of it. But even logistically, I asked him, I was like, well, what would this even look like in the state if this was even, implemented? And he said it would be really, really difficult just because this is such a popular method here in Arizona.
It would literally mean everybody has to go to the polls unless you have some special provision and you get a mail-in ballot. That's what they're
and I mean,
do.
and we didn't really hear a lot of specifics from Trump, when he did the Truth Social post. It was kind of like more overview of what he was wanting to do. And when he was speaking about it with reporters, when they asked him that question, it didn't really seem like there was any carve out of exceptions or anything to that manner. So again, it's a little unclear if this is something that he's just kind of talking about at this point.
Just throwing it out there.
Just throwing it out there to see what public response is, or if this is something that he's taking very, very seriously. Unclear at this point. There was one Arizona representative who did come out and support this, Eli Crane, who said that this is an important step with securing our elections. But notably, we didn't really see a lot of other reaction from other Arizona Republicans. So that kind of tells me that maybe this is something that he's kind of throwing up there. Sometimes in politics, it's called a trial balloon, just to try to see what reaction looks like, and opposed to something that is very, very serious that he's going to take actual steps on.
We have a comment in the chat by CW. What happens when the ballot drop boxes burn up? just throwing it out there. We had a couple instances, I think
we did. I covered that story. Yeah.
Where here in state and out of state as well. Is it that big of a concern, though? Does it happen that often?
I don't think it happens that often. And if I remember correctly, because I did do that story when we did have that ballot box.
It was here local,
It was here
right?
local. Yeah, it was here in Phoenix. Actually not too far from where the station's at. And I remember that they immediately contacted the folks, who did drop off at that location. And I remember that it was handled, and they, sent out a statement over what they were doing and the next steps for that, for example.
And we should mention that was a post office box. It was an actual official mail-in.
Yes, it was at a post office, but you can obviously mail in your ballot. Yes.
Linda's making a comment about how some people get more than one mail-in ballot. There are people who are deceased but somehow vote by mail accurate. But only one ballot's going to count. I mean,
correct. There's a lot of.
Even if you try to throw in 2-3 ballots, it's not going to.
Yeah,
count.
and and I really would suggest people who have a lot of questions about this and just want to learn a little bit more. John Hook did a really good, fantastic piece. Where he went down to Maricopa County, and I think it will really kind of help give a big overview picture for you all. If you have some questions or want to know a little bit about those details, it's a really good piece out there. So definitely check that out.
Basically follows the ballot.
It does.
You put it in the mailbox and tell how it's counted. So it's a great piece.
And even when they're counting, they do have cameras there. So you can actually log on to their website, which is pretty neat to watch.
Yes.
And
by a nonpartisan, you have a Democrat, a Republican, and, an independent as well. So yes, you can watch that. There's a very scientific process of what goes on here.
You spoke to former county recorder Stephen Richer as well.
I did
yesterday.
Yes.
What did he have to say?
Yeah, he also kind of pointed out, and he had a tweet that broke down Trump's statement a little bit, but bit by bit. He talked about how the water. I forget exactly. It was like the water paper element that Trump was trying to say. He's like, well, this doesn't necessarily create any type of more accurate or faster. He mentioned that getting rid of ballot machines would actually make the process a lot longer. If people are already concerned or frustrated about not knowing results soon enough, this would make it much longer. We have a lot of provisions in our ballots. And if we're going to take away the voting machines, he's like, this is going to be a very long process. And he also, mentioned this idea, Trump said something over, we're the only country in the world that uses mail-in ballots. That is not accurate. We are one of dozens of countries that use mail-in ballots. Some examples include Canada, UK, Germany, for example. So that's simply not true over this idea. Now, some countries only allow certain people to mail in ballots. That's, an important thing to point out.
Military or perhaps elderly or
correct.
People. Right.
Yeah, but others allow it for everyone. So just a few things to keep in mind there.
All right.
It'll be interesting to see if this is just something he threw out or if he will pursue it. Never know.
Yeah, you never know. Some people, I've heard some theories from some folks over, why to kind of say this at the certain time, but we will have to wait and see.
Okay.
Lauren, thank you.
We know who to come to.
We sure do. I don't have video for you to walk out to.
Okay, so I'm just going to do a
graceful
goodbye.
Well, you can either call it the walk of shame or the hot girl walk. You take your pick.
We'll give her a round of applause as she walks out. Lauren, thank you for coming in.
And then as you're
Tuesday.
Walking out, here comes little
we
Miss
have Danielle coming
in.
Danielle, good morning.
Good morning. Okay.
We just brought you in kind of last minute because
you
were out all morning long. This is kind of a crazy story. This all happened at 19th Avenue and Northern.
Yep.
Inside an IHOP restaurant.
So that's where it originated, yes.
Okay. Well,
so it originated right around 4 o'clock this morning. The employees of the IHOP called and said there was a man in there. He was kind of acting erratically. He had a knife and that he was cutting himself inside of the restaurant. So that happened. Things escalated quickly. We're told from the Phoenix Police Department he was threatening people inside the restaurant
with a
as well.
hatchet, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So that was happening. There was customers in there. There was employees, obviously. That's a 24-hour IHOP right there. Once police got to the scene, the man came outside. He still had that hatchet in his hand. He was threatening officers. one of the officers at first used less lethal force. So they tried to stop the man. That unfortunately
Do we know what that was? Because they have so many. When we use the word,
they didn't tell us.
Okay.
Yeah. So
it could be a myriad of things. They could have tased him. They could have shot him with the rubber
beanbag
or whatever. Yeah.
Rubber bullets.
Yeah. So not sure at this time, but they did
Gotcha.
try to stop him with less lethal force. And then I believe the man just kind of kept coming towards the officer, still having that knife in his hand. And that is when one of the other officers then fired his weapon, striking that individual. So we're told that the Phoenix Fire Department took him to the hospital, and we do have an update that he did pass away from his injuries there. So it was a hours-long investigation. Started at 4 o'clock this morning, and I mean, it was still going.
Do you know if there were people in that restaurant at the time? Because I mean, you mentioned this is a 24-hour place, and I drive on the way to work next to a Denny's. It's always hopping, no matter what time it is. So I can only imagine this is probably the same thing at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, there were people in there. There were obviously employees, a manager at the time, a server, a cook. And so, according to the Phoenix Police Department, they said this was it could have been
worse.
It already was a very dangerous situation, but things obviously can get escalate from there, and somebody else could have gotten hurt. And
talk a little bit about your perspective covering stuff like this, because you were sent out there, I think, within by 5 a.m. I think we
it
had
was 4:30.
You
so
pretty
30 minutes.
early, and you kind of pop up, and the thing is, when you get to those scenes, you don't really know what's happening. You might have heard that this is an officer-involved shooting. You may not. You're trying to get someone to confirm.
Yep.
You might have witnesses coming up to you. You might, unfortunately, see evidence that you don't want to see, but it's not an easy thing.
No. And I mean, it's different every day,
Yeah.
right? So every scene is different. And I think it's hard for us, too, because we're trying to get the information out there for the public, especially when you have road closures and things that actually affect the public.
And Northern's a busy section of road.
Oh, yeah. And it was closed completely in both directions from 19th Avenue to 21st Avenue.
Yeah.
So, and we do our best to get the information, but it's hard because, the public doesn't understand, but we have to wait until a designated person with the Phoenix Police Department comes over. That person was on scene for at least an hour before that person can actually come over and talk to us and give us official, but we do our best. We go out there and try to find out what's going on. And there's a few sergeants and, lieutenants that'll kind of clue us in a little bit and let us know what's going on. But until that information, comes down from that official person. But yeah, it's different. You don't know what's going on, and roads are blocked, and we're trying to get to the scene as close as we can. And at that point, we just heard that it was a shooting, so it came out at 4 o'clock. So we were getting there, 40 minutes after it happened,
Which is actually
pretty quick.
Yeah.
Because I mean, the information doesn't always come down very quickly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So not sure the circumstances of what was happening with that man, or there was tons of businesses out there. If you're familiar with the area, I mean, there's IHOP, there's donut shops and coffee shops, and a very busy area.
Thank
so
you.
Danielle,
5
thank you
seconds.
so
Yep.
much.
You want to stick around?
You got it.
Sure.
Be right back.
Goodness gracious. Danielle, would you like to answer some of the questions in the chat?
Yeah, I think, you already answered for me. Somebody did. Oh, Michael was asking what time do I get up to get to the scene by 4:30.
He could hear you.
Yeah, so we get up at I do personally, 2:30, because we have to be at work shortly after that.
Bright and early in the morning.
Bright and early, and here we are.
Here we
Still
are.
trucking along. Send coffee.
Yeah,
please.
Coffee's the only way to make it through.
Yeah.
Okay, before we get to our next guest, we're going to talk about something fun. Cambridge Dictionary has added,
What is a dictionary called?
Cambridge.
There you go.
What's a dictionary?
What? How do you spell that?
Who needs it?
6,000 new words.
That's a lot.
Wait, 6,000?
6,000 new words. We're only going to test you on 3.
Okay.
Well, let's do 4.
Oh, you have
There's
4?
4
I only
good
have
ones.
3.
Which ones do you have? She doesn't even know how to pronounce it.
Delulu.
I know that one.
Yeah, your Thai is Delulu.
Thai is very Delulu.
Thai
Okay.
For
is
folks who
Delulu.
don't know.
I love that.
The real
Delulu.
Thai.
Okay.
Very Delulu.
That's
Which means
right.
like what? Delusional, right? Like you're a
Delusional.
little
Yep.
kooky.
Yep.
Got it.
You don't have a good sense of reality.
Thank you. Now I feel personally attacked now, Danielle.
Floating in the clouds.
Yeah, this is fun, isn't it? All right.
Come back on down
All right.
here.
The other word they add is skibbity.
Skibbity.
Can you
Okay,
please define what skibbity is?
So I don't have kids old enough yet for this. Mine is only 5, but I work with Mike Robinson, who has high school kids. So I've learned all about, isn't it like skibbity toilet or what? I don't know what it means.
No.
Wait, what?
Okay.
Wait, what's a skibbity
I've got
toilet?
No, don't the kids nowadays, they say like scoobity boo boo toilet or something. And you're like, wait,
No,
what?
I don't think
Okay,
so.
somebody comment or call in right now. So I don't
skibbity
sound
is
crazy.
a word that can have different meanings, such as cool or bad.
Yes.
Yeah, like a skibbity toilet.
Like
Or
an
it can
cool
be
toilet.
used with no real meaning as a joke. So these are the sentences that Cambridge Dictionary has put in there.
Cambridge.
Cambridge.
kidding.
Okay. What the skibbity are you doing?
Okay.
Okay.
I like that.
Ty's going to go to the skibbity toilet. I'm telling you it's a thing. Trust me.
In the viral song, the words "You're so pretty" were replaced by "You're so skibbity." That doesn't make any sense. Okay. Well, some of these sentences are stupid. Anyway, skibbity.
Perfect.
All right.
Love it.
Use it in a sentence today when you're out with friends today.
Okay.
Skibbity.
Hey, skibbity. All right.
Trad wife. Is that how we decided to say
Yeah,
it?
which I think is a dumb one. I
like
don't even. I've never-
traditional wife.
Opposed to
A non-traditional wife. I don't know.
They also put the word Luke, Lewk, a play on the word look, meaning a particular style, fashion, or outfit. So like
it's a
you're
Luke.
Luke.
I love you, Luke.
It's a Luke.
You look so good.
It's a Luke. I like
good
that one. I
Luke
use that all the
today.
time. It's a Luke.
Okay, a trad wife is short for traditional wife, a married woman, especially one who posts on social media, who stays at home doing cooking, cleaning, etc., and has children that she takes care
So
of.
an Instagram influencer.
So her name is Danielle. Just I'm not a wife. But.
Okay, and then the other one that I thought was interesting was inspo, short for inspiration.
Oh, yeah,
but now that's a
You can
word that's
actually
in the
use
dictionary
that.
now.
What about what was there? Never mind. I'm tired. I don't. Okay.
I do like skibbity though. I'm gonna
I
start
like
using
skibbity.
that.
No, you guys, tomorrow I'm going to have Mike come in and
Okay.
explain it.
I
Because
like
he's.
what
Should
the
I see if he-
skibbity are you doing,
Should I see if
Ty?
Mike answers right now?
Oh, he probably will.
All right, hold on.
Are you calling
Mike is
him?
very thoughtful.
Hold on.
Yeah,
Mike.
his
What's
kids.
Broligarchy. Broligarchy.
Hold on. I'm not gonna put him on speaker just in case he swears.
Can you do like your best
Oh, it
radio
does
voice?
say skibbity toilet.
See?
Mm-hmm.
I know what I'm
Hey,
down with the
Mike,
kids.
October of last year.
We're live right
I'm
now
cool with
on
the kids.
Fox
Kim
10
Kardashian posted
Talks.
a video on social media showing
Can
the
we-
necklace her daughter
can
had
you
given
tell
her,
us what skibbity
engraved with
means?
the phrase skibbity toilet.
See,
The
thank you.
skibbity toilet.
What does that
Yeah,
mean?
here, put him on speaker. See?
Well, hold on. I'm gonna put you on speaker so everybody can hear you. Hold on.
Mike, it's Danielle. I brought you up because we're talking about the new words, and I hear you say all the time about your kiddos because they're high school age. The skibbity boo boo toilet.
What is
boo-
so-
What is a skibbity toilet?
all the things. No, I have no idea. It's no longer used. Like if you're saying those words, you're not cool because that had its
we're
moment.
old and boring
and
now.
the fact that it got put in the dictionary, I think it solidifies the fact that those are no longer cool. words to use.
What the skibbity are you talking about, Mike?
Mike, you're Delulu.
You're Delulu.
You're Delulu.
Just when we thought we were trad wives.
Probably on some TikTok video that somebody decided, oh, yeah, that sounds hilarious. I'm going to say that. So there you go.
Well, Mike,
The more you know.
Have a great day.
Skibbities.
You guys have a good skibbity day.
You have a great skibbity day, too, Mike. Thanks for your help. Bye.
I guess we're not. Just when we thought we were cool.
Yeah.
I
well,
just like saying skibbity. It's okay.
Oh, skibbity. Not skibbity do. It's just skibbity.
Just skibbity. Yeah.
There we go.
Perfect.
Right. Well, we learn something
great.
new every day.
Okay.
There we
Danielle,
go.
thanks for coming in.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Before we get to our next guest, do you want to do weather real quick?
Okay. You want me to do it, or would you like to do it? Because you're kind of the pseudo weather expert.
I thought you were an expert.
Yeah, that's why I said I'll do
You're
weather.
still on the
Do you
billboards.
want to talk about? I know. We'll do our.
Let's go.
Can I know? ENG?
There we go.
There we go. Okay. So I just want to talk about this. We got those heat alerts coming in, you guys, because it is going to be very hot tomorrow. We're talking temperatures well above those seasonal averages, and that's why the National Weather Service has issued that extreme heat warning going into effect tomorrow through Friday, because we're going to be tracking some very hot temperatures. In fact, let me give you a quick look at that 10-day forecast. We're going to see 111 by tomorrow, 113, 112 Thursday and Friday. But the good news, slight chance of maybe seeing some evening monsoon showers later this week, and then a better chance as we get into next week as well. So there's just a quick look at that forecast.
A quick look.
A quick look. You have to get a little bit closer. I apologize.
Jeffrey,
These mics,
how are you?
I am doing well. Thanks for having
Introduce
me this
yourself
morning.
to everyone for us.
Glad to.
Yeah.
Oh, so let's. Where do you work, Jeff?
I work at Cornerstone Healing Center in our West Valley location, which is 43rd Avenue and Indian School. I'm clinical lead there, so kind of the team leader for the clinicians.
Nice.
And we provide services for people dealing with mental health and or substance use issues. So.
Okay. We brought you into today, because we're talking about morning people and kind of starting your day off on the right foot.
And happiness.
And
right?
happiness.
When people are the happiest.
Okay.
Okay. So can we break down our schedule for you?
Yeah.
I get up at 1:40 in the morning. I give myself a little extra time. I like to get on the treadmill, have a cup of coffee, and then I'm at work by 3:45. Ties in by 6. I'd like to say we're happy, but when you get up in the middle of the night, it's hard sometimes.
Yeah. Well, I got picked to do this interview because of my morning routine.
Oh, really? Let's hear it.
Let's hear yours.
Well, I wake up during the week about 3:15.
Okay.
And this kind
On
of ties
purpose?
in the routine. What's that?
Like for a reason?
Yeah.
Okay.
And kind of cultivating healthy routines. I stumbled into this. But I wake up, have a cup of coffee, read the Arizona Central, which I enjoy doing, and then I go to the gym. So I walk in the gym about 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm not the first person. And there's a bunch of other gray hairs like me there too. But I've been doing this for not that early, but for about 36, 37 years probably. And I started with wanting to exercise regularly. And initially, I was working days, my wife nights, and I thought, wait until 9:30 to go out for a run. And I'm going to try to get up early in the morning. And my self-talk was, at least I'll start the day with something positive.
Exactly.
So I have that routine that 6 days a week I go to the gym and I take Sundays off. And it's really served me well. At least, we're going into football season. You think about football teams are going to be all week. There's a game plan. We're going to practice that game so that we're ready on Sunday. And at least for me, it best prepares me for the day. I tend to be an anxious person, so it boosts endorphins and brings down the anxiety, and I'm best set for the day and whatever the day is going to bring.
So do you think maybe kind of, is this more like habit forming, makes people a little bit happier when they're able to kind of check off kind of their list in the morning?
Or control their day. I mean, you can't control your day, but you can control how it starts, maybe?
At least for me.
Yeah.
But I would say what do I do for body, mind, and spirit, right? So exercise routine, mind, one of the things that I encourage my clients, in fact, I sign them to, is to do a regular check-in with self. How am I feeling physically? How am I feeling spiritually? How am I feeling emotionally? What's contributing to that?
And you just writing this
dealing
down.
with these things, dealing with these things timely, because if you don't, that's where, our mental health starts astray. And for too many people, that's when substance use comes in.
Sure.
And so you undermine the need to use substances by working on the mental health type things.
I agree. And I'm a routine person. I think Ty's a little bit like that too. But when I have my cup of coffee, I try to read my devotional every morning. And that's why I get on the treadmill, even though people are like, you're on the treadmill at 2 o'clock in the morning. But, it wouldn't be any different than 5 a.m. Depend if you had a normal schedule. But I do that because then I know I get that movement in. I have that few minutes, whether I'm reading the news or maybe watching TV or even scrolling on Instagram and shopping. But that's my 30 minutes where I know I'm kind of getting into that mindset and I'm ready for the day.
And your experience, probably like mine, is you do this long enough and your body clock just adapts to it.
Yeah.
And
unfortunately, yes, on Saturday mornings, I'm still up at 3.
Well, I started waking up about 4. But a book I would highly recommend is Atomic Habits by James Clear. And full disclosure, I don't get any royalties. I have no affiliation with him, but it's been on the bestseller list for like 7 years every week. And he really gets into some principles. And the key is, if I'm trying to get a routine going, start with something, use SMART goals. What am I going to do? Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, timely. The goal is just to create that habit where I do it every day. Don't set some big, huge goals. I got to, if it's exercise, I'm going to go run 5 miles the first day. Just cultivate the habit where it just becomes part of the routine.
Is it true it takes 21 days to form a habit or break a habit?
It kind of varies. Okay. It can be 20-some days up to 40 days, but what you're, and as you think about your morning routine of getting ready to go to work, how much of that you're kind of on semi-automatic pilot. And if the goal is, I want to do this, don't skip a day, don't skip 2 days in a row, just do that every day, and pretty soon it just kind of cues up, and that's where you want to get.
And I like what you mentioned too, because achievable goals, because the sense of accomplishment that you get from achieving a goal, I think gives you that little boost of endorphins too, right?
And so let's say, for example, meditation. Most people, it's really challenging, especially in this world we live in now, where everybody's smartphone,
Your brain's always moving and working, even though you don't think it is.
And the goal is, I just want to do it every day because, the science shows this helps, and eventually it'll kick in. It's like, this is helpful. And then that becomes the motivation, and you feel that need to do that because it keeps me in a better place. The spiritual component is that, how do I wrestle with the life events, misfortune, bad luck, all those things, and how do I process those things? And that's kind of the spiritual side of it, wrestling with, in the 12-step world, they have what's called the principle of acceptance, and, okay, what am I going to do with this?
We have 10 seconds. How do people find you?
Find us?
Yeah.
We're at Cornerstone Healing Center. Our location's on Indian School and 43rd Avenue. We also have a location in Scottsdale, up in North Scottsdale.
Jeff, thanks for coming in. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Got 10 talks. Ron?
Yeah.
How are you?
Really good. I feel like we've had possibly the best show all week so far.
So far?
Yeah,
Great.
comparing yesterday to today.
You're putting the pressure on me. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Well, we had such a beautiful sunrise this morning. Did you see? I actually put it on the gram.
Oh, it was gorgeous. It was really like reflecting off the clouds. Beautiful.
Really
I love those
amazing.
cotton candy skies. We're lucky.
Yeah.
Our sunrises, sunsets are beautiful here.
Okay, so there's the view right there. Camelback. I like that view very much. You know, there was a big controversy, Des, when they built that parking garage. So you're looking out over the roof of the Chase Field, and they called it the Taj Mahal of parking garages. This was, I bet, like 20 years ago when they built it, because it matches the curve on Jefferson Street. And I don't know. Who knows how much it cost? I'm sure today if they tried to build it again.
Quite a comparison, that with the Taj Mahal. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so how's your day been going?
Good.
Yeah?
Busy. Yeah. Yours?
Busy too.
Yeah.
Super hopping
Always.
around.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. We have several stories that I think are going to be interesting if you guys stick with us over the course of this next half hour. You know, every day now. 2 full hours on FTT. We're totally committed to this streaming show. And then, so where were you earlier this morning? Where'd you head
I was
off
in
to?
house today after the show.
Nice.
Yep. So
Okay.
prepping for the stream and then do a lot of behind the scenes stuff. We're so busy generally, so we can't shoot promos and do everything sometimes all in one day. So I was doing a little of that today.
Did you have your promo shoot today?
Yeah. Lots of good stuff coming for you guys.
Is that the one where they have like 800 lines for you?
It was great. Yeah, it was like, say mornings are great. And then say mornings are great happy. Say it kind of dull.
A little sad.
Say mornings are about breaking news.
Yes.
Say it happy. Say it sad.
Well,
was
it's great having you here. We are all set and ready to go with the next half hour. This next story, we are going to start off with, I just feel like every development in the Rebecca Baptiste story it just takes the shock level once again to another level. And if you have not seen this video yet, this is the police body cam interaction with the father and the girlfriend of the father, and it really captures the moment that the little 10-year-old Rebecca is laying in the gravel off of the Highway 180 up there in Apache County. Her dad, Richard Baptiste, and his girlfriend, Anisha Woods, are talking to the officers. They don't seem to be very upset, though, about the actual status of their little girl. Instead, they're just trying to explain maybe the problems they think they were having with her. It's pretty shocking here, so we're going to get right to it. This is what it looked like, that actual interaction.
How long has it been since she's been responsive?
We don't know. The neighbor brought her.
When did the neighbor bring her?
She was supposed to go stand in the shade and go wait for me because that's where we've been keeping her, to be outside, because she can't be trusted in the building because she gets there. There's knives, there's weapons, there's everything.
Okay.
So I had her standing outside. I turned around to go grab waters for bottles, and she was gone.
Okay. Was she complaining of any pain, any sickness, anything like that today?
She's been complaining of a headache. He has a long history with running to DCS and making up stories of her brothers.
So there has been DCS cases before?
Yeah,
I just got him back from the state.
While his case was open, DCS kept having new cases open because Rebecca would go to school and had all these different allegations. And what was becoming alarming to not only her therapist but to the DCS workers was that she started having markings. Like she had bruises on her hands and her arms, and they took pictures and thought Rebecca had told her that we had done it.
Okay, so just a lot of explaining going on there. In the meantime, your little girl is suffering, having been found, Des, right there in the gravel. I mean, so many unanswered questions.
I mean, I don't even know.
I know.
It's a tough line to walk here as a journalist, as a mom.
Right.
But a lot was said without a lot of questions being asked, for one. I mean, in what we just played for you, you didn't really even hear the police officer getting to ask them many questions there. So, that's kind of telling. Right. And then to just stand there and have no reaction about your child laying in the gravel like that. That's that is not a normal reaction from a parent of someone who loves their child unconditionally.
And so
it's frustrating to watch.
Yeah. So what happened is that she was rushed to a medical center in Winslow, and then they realized this is such a serious case. We got to get her down to the Valley for expert care at PCH, Phoenix Children's Hospital, one of the best children's hospitals in the Valley. But within a few days, she had passed. So the next court date is going to be September the 4th, and we've got, our newsroom is really geared up to continue to follow all the various aspects of this story. And I do think there's just, as I said, there's a certain shock level that people, when they hear some of the newest developments, they just really wonder how something like this ever happened in the first place.
Right. And I was just talking to Kenzie about it, one of our reporters who's been covering this extensively.
Sure.
Some of the initial court paperwork, 40 plus pages of paperwork involved in this case.
Yeah.
With the September 4th date now, they'll be back in court. I'm sure, we'll learn a lot more.
Yep, I'm sure we will too. Let's shift to a little bit of good news. It just seems like it's been such a struggle to get a handle on these wildfires that have been burning in some of the most beautiful places in our state. But there's some good news coming out of the Washington fire today. Now, that is the one that's burning north of Payson up in the Mogollon Rim country. And matter of fact, I think I've got some of the video right here that show how are you going to fight that fire? Anybody who's been up to the rim knows how beautiful it is, but it's so rugged. I've hiked up certain canyons up there, and I mean, it's grueling. It's exhausting. And imagine being a firefighter and trying to get a handle on this, but that is what has been happening. As we show you right there, the fire burning up the sides of the rim. And the great news is that the Gila County Sheriff's Office has announced that everybody who was on go status, who's been evacuated, is going to be allowed back into their homes. Now, they'll have to be on set status, depending on the overall direction of the fire. But, hey, 500 acres, they're up above 20% containment. So, I mean, you feel like they really got on this fast. I think people maybe don't realize, but there are all kinds of communities there, Washington Park, several others, that are north of Payson in just quiet little neighborhoods that are basically right up against the rim. And so, they've got a real job on their hands trying to protect these people's homes.
Absolutely. And the job of those firefighters, it's so crucial, right? I mean, because we have how many of these a year? The job they do is critical.
Really is. Hey, we have been talking really over the course of, frankly, about the last 3 years about inflation, the problems it is causing here in our country. And we have decided to bring on an expert here from Bankrate. They do something, this is really interesting to me, Des, and I know it is to you too, called the Wage to Inflation Index.
Decided to bring on
so let's see here. Let's go. Take a look right here. As a matter of fact, I think we're all set and ready to go. This is Sarah Foster. Hi, Sarah. Index.
Hi, great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Are you hearing an echo?
Yeah, a little bit.
Here, as a matter of fact, I think we're all set and ready to go. This is Sarah Foster. Hi, Sarah. I feel like I'm introducing you twice.
I know. Hang on. Where's that coming from?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm not. A little bit.
Okay. So let me just ask Dave, is there anything we can do about the echo, Dave? Because Sarah's going to hear every question twice. Okay.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, perfect. There. Okay.
Thank you.
Maybe we brought it
Thanks,
down.
Dave. Hey, Sarah.
Yeah. Hi. Tell us about this whole index that I think you guys created, and what's it showing? Are we making any progress or falling further behind?
Yeah, we are making progress. I think the story about inflation is that if you're feeling just like you can't get ahead of price increases, if you can't afford your groceries, your essentials, if you're still struggling to feel like you can make ends meet, it might actually be because your purchasing power technically today is a little bit lower than it was at the beginning of 2021. That's what we mean when we say that there is a gap between wages and inflation. Over the past couple of years, wages have actually been rising faster than prices. But when you zoom all the way back and look at just how much prices first surged in the aftermath of the pandemic, you can find that wages actually haven't risen enough to account for that.
Right. So we're still slightly behind in that sense. So when it comes to getting that cost of living adjustment or raise or a performance raise, how can you best give advice for an employee to be able to secure that raise for themselves?
Yeah, so over the past couple of years, it was actually pretty reliable for Americans to find a better paying job and to job hop in order to get the best raise possible. That tide is actually shifting now. The job market has slowed dramatically. We're actually kind of stuck in this no hire but no fire, labor market frozen zone. So what that means is that it's probably a little bit easier for you to get a raise if you stay put at your current employer and really just demonstrate that you are a top performer. I always like to tell people that it's the workers who are adaptable, who are constantly improving their skill sets, who are trying to work more efficiently and just also get more comfortable about talking about the value of the work that they bring. They're the ones who are always going to be in demand, and even in tougher job markets, they probably will have more leverage than, other people.
I also thought it was really interesting in your survey, there are certain like financial services, business services, manufacturing, where it's tougher for people to keep pace. But you say there are certain careers where people are maybe having a little bit more luck getting the wage increases they want.
That's right. So there are 4 industries where wages have actually outpaced inflation. That's retail, food services, leisure, and hospitality. So think those industries that were really kind of, impacted by the pandemic and then were caught in the middle of that great resignation when the economy reopened much faster than the workers came back. And actually new this year is healthcare and social assistance. So if you look over the past 12 months, most of the jobs that this economy has added are within the healthcare sector just because of how the population is aging. I think when you think about wage growth, it really is just a signal of who has the power in the labor market. Is it the employer? Is it the worker? For the past several years, it was workers who were really in that driver's seat. But now as the labor market has slowed, I would probably venture to say that workers probably aren't really the primary, drivers here in this job market.
We all have just a few seconds left. Where can people find out more about this? Is it bankrate.com?
Yes, they can find our study on Bankrate, and they can also look for any additional industry information. So if you're trying to figure out, what industry you work in and how your wage growth is outpaced, if at all, inflation, they can find that at our study.
Excellent. Thanks. We're going to take a quick break. Thank you, Sarah.
Thanks for having me.
Great job, Sarah. Thank you.
No worries. Yeah, great to be here. Thank you.
Okay, everybody, here is your mystery cam. That's right. For you guys who are in the 2-hour club, Frankie D, you are exactly right. This is MC time, mystery cam time. Des and I were looking at this saying they do a really good job with their murals in that town. That looks just like a traditional main street that was really at one point probably booming a long time ago.
Yeah, and they've got two good ones. Like, look at the one that spans the whole side of that building.
Yes.
There, with the painting of another building.
Yeah.
And then there's one kind of like on the left side, towards the middle too.
Okay.
I can't make out.
Yeah, I know, a little bit tougher. It looks woodsy or something. Frankie D is guessing Iowa. If you guys have your own guesses for today's mystery cam, you can let us know kind of what you think, because boy, I just feel like that could be a thousand different downtowns in medium-sized cities.
Kind of looks like it could be mine too, from my hometown.
Oh, is that right?
Lockport, New York.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like it could be a little bit. Yeah. Lockport. I live in just a town. It's like 35 minutes north of like downtown Buffalo.
Okay.
Real small.
So you're going to go Lockport? Are you guessing Lockport?
I know it's not, but it looks like it could be.
I'm going to go somewhere in Kentucky. And thanks for your guesses at home, everybody. So what do you think, Des?
Drum roll. It is Mattoon.
Okay.
Right? Mattoon, Illinois?
Mattoon.
I've never heard of Mattoon.
How about that? Neither have I.
Yeah.
I know.
Okay. We'll have to go. That's got to be, you got to put that on your list, Ron.
I know, Des. Maybe that's next year's state to explore is Illinois.
Yeah. Let's see. It's 89 degrees there right now.
Nice.
So that sounds good.
Good.
Cost us about $289 to get there.
Really?
By flight.
You can fly to Mattoon?
Yeah, sure.
Well, you probably got to fly to St. Louis and get a rental car.
I'm sure. Yeah. I don't know.
Anyway.
Google give me the quick price.
Hey, we have I think a good opportunity to chat with you guys right now with one of the big stories. In fact, it's our poll question today. We're getting thousands of votes. I'll just pop it up right there. The president wants to end mail-in ballots. What do you think? It's running pretty close about the risk of fraud versus, come on, it's such an easy way to vote compared to all the other ways. And there's your YouTube poll question. You can vote either way. And by the way, we'll grab some of your YouTube comments coming up in a minute.
Ooh, tied here.
Yeah, how about that?
YouTube poll between the first two.
From the Washington desk, everybody, it is Miles Parks with NPR. Hi, Miles.
Hi.
Hey, great. Thanks for having me.
You ever been to Mattoon, Illinois, friend?
I have not, but I'd like to get out there. I'd like to see every single state. I actually haven't been to Illinois other than Chicago, honestly.
How many states have you been to? Did you ever count it up?
Gosh, I went to so many in 2024. I feel like I was right around a dozen before the 2024 election, and now it's probably closer to 30, but I have not done a recent count.
Okay.
Wow. All right. You got to catch up to Ron Hoon here. He's been to all 50.
I just went to my 50th last year. Hot tip, if you go to Fargo, to the convention, the Visitors Bureau there, they give you a shirt that says, I just made it to my 50th state, North Dakota.
Nice.
All right, Miles. What about this move on the part of the president? Now, so far, he's just talking about the executive order, right? To stop mail-in ballots, and my understanding is there are certain voting machines he has some problems with. Kind of walk us through what you've learned so far.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like all things with the president at this point, we're kind of trying to read the tea leaves because we haven't seen the exact language of the executive order he's said that his administration is drafting. But it seems like from what he said both on social media and then also yesterday at the White House that he wants to get rid of all mail voting and then also wants to ban some types of voting machines. That part there's a little bit less clarity on. It's not clear whether he's talking about the machines that the vast majority of the country uses to count paper ballots, which is one thing. 98% of the country does vote on a paper ballot that's tabulated by a machine on the back end. But then there are a small percentage of Americans that do still vote on touch screens, that then that stores the vote and then it's tabulated that way. So it's unclear whether he's trying to just ban those types of machines or if he wants to actually do a broader ban of all the sort of tabulators that count votes.
And Miles, really simple question here. Can the president do this?
I have not talked to a legal expert who says he can at this point. And I've talked to close to a dozen about whether it's this topic or he his administration released another executive order trying to change a number of other things earlier in the administration that's also winding its way through the courts. The bottom line is that the Constitution makes it really clear that states are supposed to run the election. Congress has some power to change that, but the president has almost no authority to impact how elections are run. So most legal experts say if an executive order says what he says it's going to say, that courts are probably going to strike it down, but we'll just have to see.
One last question for you, Miles. There are certain states that lean red where you might have either a governor or an attorney general or whatever it takes in those states to say they're going to pick up on this cue from the president and say, actually, we're going to change the way we vote and we'll get rid of mail-in voting. Is that a possibility? Could you see something
Definitely.
like that happening?
If it's at the state level and the legislature is aligned with the president, if the legislature and the governor are aligned with this opinion, it's definitely possible at any state level to change a law and ban mail voting. There are still states. New Hampshire is a purple state that doesn't allow mail voting for all voters. So there are still a few states out there that don't allow it. But I will say the last thing I would just say, though, is that 25% of Trump's voters in 2024 did vote by mail. So this is not a thing that only Democrats are using. And there's also research that shows that when people do vote by mail, they tend to do it again and again. So it's a hard thing to take back once you've offered it to voters.
Well, and I'm glad you mentioned that because we had more than 2 million Arizonans who chose to vote by mail in the 2024 general election.
That's right. And I mean, when people do it, they seem to like it. I will say there's not a great understanding from the average person, at least what I've found, in the sort of security measures that go into mail voting. I think a lot of people just assume they just go to a factory or a warehouse and they just pile them up and they're not connected to any voter. I think one fact that I always go back to when it comes to mail ballot security is the fact that even though your ballot itself is anonymized, they are connected to each individual voter. There's on the envelope, there is a little barcode or some way to connect to a voter. So it's not like they just go into a kind of the ether and never to be seen again. There is a way to actually audit it and make sure that one person didn't cast 10 different mail ballots, for instance.
All right. Well, really good perspective from Miles. Let's put him on the list of future guests.
Absolutely.
Here on our streaming show, Fox 10 Talk. Miles. Sound good to you, Miles?
Absolutely. Hopefully I'll visit some more states next time I've talked to you.
Yeah, good. I was hoping you were from Mattoon. I wanted to learn about it.
From Florida.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Miles. All right, Miles. Thank you.
I mean, how epic, Miles. Though, terrific job. I'm Miles from Mattoon.
Yes, right?
No,
Come on. Yeah, I'm Miles from Florida. Hey, we got another great interview coming up for you here in about 60 seconds. But first, look at the pictures. Justin from Sky Harbor Airport. Ladies and gentlemen, the official countdown has begun when the best women's college basketball players in the world are going to be coming to the Valley, Des.
How exciting.
It
right?
really is.
Yeah. I mean, we're such a poppin' city, though.
Yeah, we are.
We've got all those professional sports teams, minus one that left the state. We won't bring that up. But lots of good college games.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, really. Well, we've had 2 Final Fours for the guys, so I'm so glad that it has reached new levels of excitement and embrace from just fans, men and women who are fans of women's basketball. It's never been at this high of a level of popularity. So anyway, very exciting to see Jay Perry and the gang kind of kicking it off there. You got Mayor Gallego and some other dignitaries that were on the stage. Look for the countdown clock at Sky Harbor Airport.
And March Madness will be here before you know it.
Yep, for sure. So, Des, are you any kind of a card shark? Do you like playing any kind of card games? Are you good at them?
Go fish.
Okay. Good.
That's about as far as I go. Yeah. My husband plays spades.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And yeah, he's always on me about not knowing how to play spades.
Okay.
So, do you play?
A little bit, but I'm not very good.
I'm not very good. I wish I were.
Usually my grandkids are able to beat me at any kind of low-level card game. Okay, we're talking about the best, really, I mean, the best in Arizona, maybe some of the very best in the country going on. And Tiffany Mitchell joins us at the state Tiffany Michelle joins us at the State Poker Championship, which is going on right now. Okay, give us the lay of the land, Tiffany. Look at you. Are you actually playing right now?
You guys, I have never done this in my 20-year career. I am playing live for $500,000 while doing an interview with you guys live on television.
No.
We are down to 77 players right now out of a starting field of over 3,500. Everyone at this table right now around me is guaranteed, I want to say a $6,000 payday, but first place is $500,000. And I am live in the game because you guys said, hey, we want to do it right now. And I'm like, guys, I'm busy playing poker.
That's so great.
All right. So, okay, we're sending all the good vibes your way then. We want you to come out on top. And so to get into this tournament in particular, it was an $1,100 buy-in for 30,000 chips. I know nothing about poker. Is that, I mean, that seems like a pretty low buy-in amount.
Yeah, $1,000 buy-in is what we all paid. You could play multiple starting days, so some people are in for a little bit more, but it was $1,000 buy-in, and it's going to be $525,000 for first place, which is unheard of. Like, there's no other casino anywhere close that you can pay $1,000 to win. Someone's going to become a $500,000 tomorrow. By tomorrow, someone will become a $500,000. It's the largest field that they've ever seen, and actually pretty cool. Right now, with 77 players left, I want to say there's about 8 women with massive chip stacks still in the field. So 10% of the field at this stage is women, which of course, you know, notoriously poker is a man's game. So that's always cool to see the growth. And all of these players have come out to the Talking Stick Resort. Every year gets bigger and bigger. Wait, guys, I have to look at my hand. Okay. I'm folding this one.
Okay, maybe
but
a
anyway,
wise move.
yeah, okay.
Probably a wise move. Okay, gosh. Well, I wish we had more time to talk. Can people come down to Talking Stick and watch?
Yeah, if anybody wanted to come down, I mean, you know, watching poker sometimes is like watching paint dry, but with the stakes that we're playing for, like I said, 77 players left. Tomorrow is the final table. That means 9 players tomorrow will buy for $525,000. You can come, you can stand on the rails, you can spectate, you can come give me a good luck back massage. I'll take it.
All right.
Okay,
hey, I'll give you a back massage if you give me a little profit of those winnings there, because you're going to come out on top.
That's great.
10% of my action for a back massage.
Deal.
All right, Tiffany.
Wait, you guys.
Yeah.
I have to leave you now because I'm about to play a hand. I think you guys brought me the good luck. Thank you so much.
Okay,
All
good
right.
luck.
Bye.
Good luck. And with
Bye,
that,
guys.
we're out of time. This happens fast.
Wow.
It goes so fast.
Wow, interviewing right from the table. I'm actually surprised they let her do that.
That's a first.
Poker's like, they're pretty strict about,
Yeah, I
you
know it, right? Okay, well, with that, we have to say our goodbyes. Thank you for spending the whole 2 hours with us, or even if you caught the last 15 minutes. We'll be around tomorrow with more Fox 10 Talks.